Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing another movie review for you all. This movie is an action film from South Korea, Korean language English subs, released in the year 2023, directed by Chung Yun-lee. This film is called Ballerina. So Ballerina is about the main character, who is a very lethal woman. She is well versed in the art of assassination, so she can basically walk in killing machines. So she is a very cold-hearted individual, but then one day she meets a friend who changes her life forever. This friend is a ballerina. She's a very sweet individual and she shows the softer side of life, and so this is something the main character's always needed. But unfortunately one day her friend kills herself. And she's devastated about this, but it actually turns out she killed herself for reasons that link her to a very dark world. And this dark world is full of mean sort of cruelty that really angers this main character and takes her down a path of brutal revenge. So who she seeks that revenge against is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Ballerina. Although this movie isn't right up there with the top tier South Korean cinema, I would still recommend this film because there is a lot going for it. Now there are issues that I have with the movie that I'll talk about a little bit later, but what I really liked about Ballerina was the character development of the main two characters. The relationship between these two individuals I thought was actually very sweet, and it shows a really cold-hearted person up with a very innocent person and how those two really bounce well off each other. And so the main character is starting to see the lightness of life, and her character is starting to relax a little bit, and you can see a lot of likeable qualities. And so that friendship I thought was really, really well done, and the overall feeling of love that I had between these characters, I could feel the sense of frustration and the sense of vengeance upon this main character. You wanted to see horrible things happen to the bad people in this movie because of what they did to this vulnerable individual, and so this killing machine is basically that vessel of vengeance. And there's a lot of cathartic violence in this movie. The violence actually hits you in a very entertaining level because it's not taking itself too seriously, but I like the idea of taking the time and effort to develop a strong relationship, and that relationship just makes the action sequences even better. I thought the choreography of the action, very standard South Korea, is really well done. I thought the acting was very good, especially the main character and this friend. I thought the friendship wouldn't have worked without a really good script and really good performances, and I think everything really complemented very well with each other. And so the bad guys are really bad. There's no real redeemable features with them, but it's basically the driving force is that central sort of relationship, and that relationship, as I said, makes everything else really work. So the cinematography is excellent, everything that you'd expect from South Korea. As far as production is concerned, it's right up there with the top tier, and that character development. This is definitely an action film that has very well choreographed action set pieces, but it's more a case of that friendship that really got me by surprise, because I actually felt as though I like these people, that this main character was a killing machine, but she actually saw the lighter side of her life, and she had a lot of likable qualities that came out. But then when she sees her friend has died, this is where she turns into that cold-hearted individual that she was at the start. So this shows you that even the worst people can actually become decent once they're exposed to the vulnerable side of life. That this is a woman that was obviously brought up in a very mean and cold-hearted world, but then this vulnerable person come up to her, a very innocent person, and showed her a different side of life, and that unraveled this main character in a different sort of way. And so you have different levels of characters that I thought really, really worked, but the sole focus is on those two. So it's not trying to give you character development in unnecessary characters, it's just trying to set up a template of what is about to unfold, and what it wants to unfold is action, and action works a lot better if you have characters that you can really root for, and this main character was certainly one of them. I wanted this main character to get vengeance because of the fact this really sweet individual was treated so bad, and when the bad guys get what's coming to them, I thought that was very therapeutic. So it's everything that you'd expect from an action film, but as I said, it's just icing on the cake in that you have a lot of really good character development. If I have issues with this movie, I will say that some of the action set pieces get a little bit repetitive. It is a very brutal film, and there are scenes that actually surprise me, but after a while you start to become desensitized to the violence in a way that it starts to become a little bit tiresome. But by the end of the film I thought, alright, well that was definitely a very good way to spend, an hour and a half of your life. It's an action movie that is typical of South Korea, but it's just that tiresome sort of element that the movie has after a while, where it started to repeat a lot of things and it started to run out of the absolutely aces, and so that was definitely something that I thought was a little bit of a disappointment. This movie could have ended 10 to 15 minutes earlier, and I thought it would have been absolutely fantastic, but it just starts to wear itself out a little bit. But it doesn't derail the experience. It's still a movie that I thought was really well done because of the fact it's daring to give you characters that you can really like in a very entertaining sort of cartoonish violent world, and I just thought as though that therapeutic sense of violence is everything that an action film strives to build, and it's definitely something that Ballerina does. So it's a nasty movie in its violence, but as I said, it's that sense of being very cathartic because of the fact these bad guys have what was coming to them. And so I thought the bad guys, they were larger than life villains. It's very black and white, but it didn't need any character development in those characters, which is something that's a lot of self-awareness that this movie had, that it doesn't want to try and give you a sense of realism in every single character, but it just has enough to really, as I said, make that sense of satisfaction very, very strong by the time the film finishes. And so, although it is a little bit tiresome, it doesn't derail what was a very impressive and entertaining action movie. So if you like South Korean films and you want something that's not quite up there as far as the very best, but certainly very serviceable, Ballerina is definitely for you. So overall, I really like this movie. Go out there and see it. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.